Cool. Let us get started. So, um, thermochemistry. We're talking about Chem 3.4, also known as thermochemistry. I can't remember the achievement number off my top of my head. That's okay. AS something. You guys need that? Yes. You do? Okay. Let me look it up on my phone. So you guys are particular. This one is Achievement Standard 91390. Some things to kind of note about thermochemistry is that this is the next level from structure and bonding. So that's what you took at level 2, just FYI. So if you did not like structure and bonding, you are probably not going to like thermochemistry, and I voice that because I'm mindful you guys should probably choose one of these 2 exams. And that could be a deciding factor. How does it compare to stuff that you did last year? The thing about thermochemistry, other things to keep in mind, is that it's 5 credits. The organic one is also 5 credits. So it doesn't matter which one you take, both of them are going to give you the same amount of points in order to get your 14 credits. Some things to kind of keep in mind about thermochemistry, and I know I've said this multiple times, is that this one I think is easier to get the achieved on. The reason why is that you can rote learn this information and memorize it. Organic chemistry is the harder one to get achieved on because you have to kind of know all the concepts to be able to even scrape the surface of the achieved, which makes it quite difficult. So if you're struggling, I would say this one's probably the easier of the 2 to just pass. Organic, I would say, is the easier to get excellence on because there's less writing. So with this thermochemistry standard, there's going to be quite a bit of writing, just like with structure and bonding as well. Like with structure and bonding, there's also going to be a math-based question. So it's kind of a bit of a Frankenstein topic because it used to be 2 separate exams and they kind of smashed them together. So that's why it's kind of a mismatch. It doesn't really make sense altogether as a topic. So just keep that in mind. It has the same problems as structure and bonding. The difference with this is that this one falls into nice categories of questions, just like structure and bonding does. Organic doesn't do that as well. It kind of has subcategories that they kind of mix and match to make a full question. So this one, again, is easier to kind of learn because of the chunking of information. So there's going to be 3 different types of questions that you're going to get. The first type of question you're going to get is going to be on periodic table trends. This one is essentially replacing last year's question on types of solids. So just FYI, the types of solid question doesn't exist anymore. It's been replaced with this periodic table trends. One of the components in the periodic table trend question that you're going to get is going to be on electron configuration. And that's what I'm going to teach you guys today. This is a really frustrating material to cover because it's a lot of work and a lot of teaching for something that's only at the achieved level. And you'll see what I mean when I go through it. So just kind of keep that in mind that that's what we're doing today and that's where it's going to fit into our bigger questions. The second question you're going to get, just like you did with structure and bonding, is you're going to get a Lewis structure, shape, and polarity question. So if you guys remember, this one really kind of focused, actually, let me backtrack. So we're going to talk about Lewis structure, shape, and polarity. The Lewis structure and shapes are going to get a little bit more complicated. The molecules you're going to be looking are going to be bigger. The other thing to keep in mind is that in this question, you will also get a question on looking at melting and boiling points. And this is going to go into more depth and more detail than previously with melting and boiling points. Because if you guys remember last year, you talked about intermolecular forces. This year, you're going to talk about the different types of intermolecular forces. So we're going to be a little bit more specific. So basically, what question 2 is going to focus on is that covalent molecular that you did with the types of solids. So covalent molecular, very kind of big component. And then question number 3 is again going to be some sort of energy calculation. So again, that parallels back to your structure and bonding. In this case, the energy calculations that you're doing are going to be slightly different to the calculations you did last year. We're going to be looking at things like Hess's law. And we're also going to be looking at the concept of entropy. Entropy, not enthalpy, entropy. So again, similar sort of things that you had last year to this year. There's going to be 2 questions here that are going to be very writing heavy, and that's what makes it more difficult to get excellence on compared to organic, is that you have to be more mindful about your writing. And then you also still need to have the ability to do math in this standard. So again, you have to kind of weigh up your options when you're looking at this as a whole and what your strengths and weaknesses are when you're deciding which of these 2 exams you want to take. All right, questions, concerns, comments at this point. All right, that's the breakdown of this topic. Let's now talk about the first thing, which is the electron configuration. I'm just going to stop this recording here because then you have a video just explaining the topic.